I'm just going to play a clip to start with of what's happened in the past week in Rochdale, then speak to Sian in the George Galloway's campaign office. Here we go.
Come into the meeting.
As soon as Simon, we've got space. Simon,
Simon, you speak at the top.
Simon,
I can't speak.
Simon,
You don't let me speak.
Simon.
No. It's a simple question because I'm going to go if I can't speak. If I'm not on the top table speaking to the people of Rochdale, I'm going to leave.
I'm not waiting till the end. I'm either part of the meeting or I'm not. Which is it? Which is it? So you want to go on, eh? Which is it? Well, I'm not going to you. I'm asking you a civil question. Am I part of the meeting or not?
Politicians should be forced to wear on their clothing the names of their sponsors, so that we know when they stand up that they're sponsored by this company or that country. Like NASCAR racing, where, racing cars, where they all have their sponsors on their clothes. That's what we should have in politics. Isn't it odd that both the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker last night, who presided over this shambles, were both members of the Labour Friends of Israel? I call them the Labour Fiends of Israel. It's just a misprint. I just dropped the R. The Labour Fiends of Israel. How does it happen? By chance that both the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker in charge of that chaos were both members of the Labour Friends of Israel? Why does Israel have so many friends in the Labour Party? Why? They're not friends of Zimbabwe or friends of Turkmenistan. They're all friends of Israel. Why? What is it that they find so particularly attractive about an apartheid state that's on trial for genocide? Not one of them has resigned. Not one member of the Labour Friends of Israel has resigned over the last 138 days. I want, Paul Daniels, I can't remember her name now. She died, but Debbie, ask Mrs. Paul Daniels. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What first attracted you to the multi-millionaire Paul Daniels? It was one of the most devastating questions ever asked on television. And I would like to ask these Labour Fiends of Israel, what first attracted you to this state 2,500 miles away of 6 million people? And you're endlessly going there. They're donating large amounts of money into your election campaigns, into your political party. Keir Starmer has had hundreds of thousands of pounds from the Fiends of Israel. And unless you know, you don't know. I know, and you know now, because I just told you. Many of you already knew, but the mass of the public don't know. They think that Keir Starmer is saying what he's saying because he believes it, but I know that that isn't true. Because I stood in a room listening to a speech by the same Keir Starmer in 2015, ancient history I know, 9 years ago. I was there, saw his lips move as he made a speech calling for Israel to be kicked out of the Football Association, FIFA, because they were a racist apartheid state. Imagine, in 9 years, he's gone from wanting to kick Israel out of football to being Israel's biggest supporter anywhere in the world. I wonder what happened on that road to Damascus.
Right, and just joining us is Sian from the Workers' Party, supporting George Galloway's campaign. How are you doing, Sian?
Hi, Crispin. Thanks for having me back. Yes, it's been a very interesting week. I think they're feeling the pressure up in Rochdale.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about that short clip, I mean, the fact that these people are taking off the banner from a restaurant that I actually went to when I was up there, by a good restaurant, if you ever go there. They took a banner off there. The police haven't found who it was yet, have they? Even though they got the number plate.
Yeah, they arrested somebody that night.
They did? Oh, okay.
Yes, they did, yes. We don't know who it is yet. But the same things were happening in Batley and Spen when George was standing over there. The Labour Party were going around taking down banners, taking down the stakes with the signposts on in people's gardens and things like that. So it makes you wonder, is it a similar group? We don't know, but we will be sure to let you know as soon as we know.
Yeah, and the other part of that clip as well was the hustings, as you saw. I thought that, I mean, I looked at the whole hustings, and George Galloway's making speech after speech after speech. I couldn't have fitted them all in, so I just picked one of them that showed how good he is at looking at what's actually going on. But the candidate for Reform, Simon Danchuk, came along with a couple of people with camera phones making a scene saying, why aren't I able to speak? I had thought that it was something to do with he hadn't filled in an invitation correctly, but then I've seen subsequently that it was the event was run by a Muslim group who were not happy with what Reform has said about Muslims. So effectively, why would they want him to come and spread hate? That's kind of what happened, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So the invitations went out, I believe, a week beforehand from an organisation called Rochdale Community Alliance. And according to the Electoral Commission's rules, organisations, non-political organisations, are able to hold hustings, and they have the right to select which candidates they want at that hustings. So they chose Labour, Lib Dem, Conservative, and they chose George Galloway for the Workers' Party. Now, there's 11 candidates in all, so not everybody could attend. There's a lot of independent standing. But the reason they gave for not inviting Simon Danchuk, as you said, is because of the way they have been portraying Muslims and their Islamophobia overall. But they took full advantage on the night of, like you say, filming it so they could put it out, so they could get members of their party and other members of the public riled up about Muslims, and we've been attacked. And, you know, like I say, it wasn't it wasn't the Workers' Party who organised this. This was an independent community association. They had the right to invite who they wanted. But Simon Danchuk turned up, made a song and a dance, a big drama out of it. Since then, Richard Tice has written to the local council to try and get some information on why they weren't invited. And I see that Nigel Farage has released a video as well. But this comes back on the back of all this Islamophobia that we've had this week, Crispin. It has been awful this week for Islamophobia. You've had Lee Anderson, you've had Liz Truss, who was talking to Steve Bannon, talking about the Workers' Party up in Rochdale, calling us an Islamist party.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
You know, it's been absolutely disgusting. And then you've had obviously the Speaker of the House saying that they were worried about terrorism. Was that talking about were they talking perhaps about jihadis, or is that what they were trying to infer?
Yeah.
That's certainly the way the public took it. So we've had an awful week this week with members of the establishment whipping up Islamophobia in this country. And it all goes back to what's happening in Palestine and Israel. I tell you what, I've been absolutely sick this week, sick to my stomach with what I've heard coming out of Parliament. I mean, it started on, was it Tuesday night when they had the debate
Wednesday.
about the
Wednesday.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. I was watching it live and I couldn't believe my eyes. What a shambles that was. It was absolute chaos. And it was appalling. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Well, I've got an interview with Chris Williamson coming up after this about what happened there. But the thing that I'd like to draw out from the Simon Danchuk thing, this going along with camera phones, trying to cause a scene, getting it blown up by Farage and Richard Tice, as you say, is George Galloway. They use this thing to say he's a divisive figure. That George Galloway is trying to unify people. These people are trying to divide people. That whole line about George Galloway is such rubbish. He is the person to unite. And it disturbs me that people are swallowing the far right propaganda against George Galloway. And some people on what we call the left, I use inverted commas there. I don't like doing that thing. Well, I'll do it. The left, right? That some people on the left are really letting the side down. I mean, I've just seen these three. I've just got a screenshot here. 3 articles that are just trying to undermine George Galloway in the last week before the actual election. One is Novara Media. Who cares about Rochdale? It just really has. If you read that article, it's shocking. The Guardian. I suppose you can expect it from them. A total disaster. Galloway and Danchuk line up for Rochdale push. And I keep being sent this this blog by the Left Lane, the Workers' Party of Britain as the politics of egoism and object, a 3-part expose on George Galloway. This is supposed to be a left group, and sort of attacking George Galloway when we have people, as we've just heard from Jackie, who are dying eating animal feed in Gaza. We have an election where he can make a big noise about what's happening in Gaza, and we want to talk about egotistical George and all these kind of tropes, if you want, about George Galloway. It must be frustrating for you to see this kind of divisive stuff on the left.
Yes, but it doesn't surprise me because they're scared to bloody death of him. The establishment are scared, the left are scared, because they know he's going to go in there and he's going to make a big noise. George is probably about the only politician who has the right to speak about Palestine. He's been supporting Palestine for 50 years. He's taken convoys of aid over there after other bombing sprees that they've had, like Operation Castle Ed, Operation Protective Edge. Like we keep saying, this didn't start on the 7th of October. And George has been involved with Palestine for over 50 years. He knows the Palestinian people. They know him, they respect him, and they're bloody scared of him. I mean, when it comes to the left, well, Novara Media, I think they've lost all credibility as far as I'm concerned. They've showed which side they're on when it comes to Palestine. They were tantamount in getting a couple of protesters named and arrested. The Guardian doesn't shock me at all. And the Left Lane, I don't even know who this person is who's wrote the Left Lane blog. But whoever it is they seem to have spoken to, it seems to me to be a disgruntled ex-member. And they certainly have a very biased view looking at what they've written. I don't recognise that side of the party. I don't recognise that side of George Galloway. You know, I've been involved in the Workers' Party since July, when the Resist movement that I started with Chris Williamson merged with the Workers' Party. And all I've seen since is a well-run party, extremely democratic. We have everyone's been elected, from the leader to the deputy leaders to the National Members Committee. Everyone is elected, and they've been elected by the membership. We had our Congress back in at the beginning of December, and our manifesto has been written on the basis of the motions that were passed during that Congress. And if people want to check out the manifesto, it's actually live on our website now. You can even order a hard copy to be sent to you.
Right. I mean, the thing is, I'm going up to the count on Thursday, and I am looking forward to having a day of celebration, which we haven't had for some time on this side, the right side, if you want, of politics, the left side of politics, whatever you want to say. We haven't had a celebration for ages, and why would people want to undermine that? I just find it incredible. But anyway, can you tell people what we need now to get George over the line?
Well, we need all hands on deck. Like we keep saying, we can't be complacent. This is the last week. We need as many people up in Rochdale as possible, particularly on Thursday. The office will be open from 7 o'clock in the morning, because we need to get the vote out. That's going to be paramount. If people can take days off work, we'd really appreciate it. Come up and help us get that vote out. I can't tell you how the buzz has been around this campaign. It is truly reminiscent of the Jeremy Corbyn days, where we had lots of activists filled with hope and excited about the future. And if you want to get involved with that, just come and get a flavour of that up in Rochdale.